The show is about a simulation. And anytime I really ponder it too much, I'm like, well, this is obviously a simulation, because how the fuck do I get to have this happen? It doesn't seem like this could be real. But then that being said, what I really hope is it inspires folks to keep doing, and I know this sounds like a Miss America speech or some shit, but I really hope it inspires people to keep following their heart, man. Because when I was doing my podcast, I did not have that level of aspiration. I never was like, one day the guy who made Adventure Time is going to hit me up and we're going to make a show together. I just loved having this moment that we're sharing right now. I love it. I live for it. It's connecting with people and I love it. And I did it enough that I guess it's like throwing a message in the bottle when you're on an island. And then all of a sudden this magical boat filled with cats pulls up and it's Pendleton Ward who's like, get on, come here, I want to show you something. And then it's like getting abducted by a wizard, basically, you know? And like that happened to me. And if it happened to me, it can happen to anybody. And also, I really mean this. I just want podcasting to flourish. I want podcasting to continue to grow and grow and take on all these different mediums. And that's really exciting to me because, you know, this is, I think, a really special medium by itself. And it deserves all the success it can get for all the people who've been doing it for you know, and learning how to do it.
How much do you think your podcast success, like how important was the Joe Rogan cosign for you and your podcast? Did you feel that it changed your career at all? Or
yeah, absolutely, man. For sure. You know, people make fun of me because I'm so unapologetic about that reality. I just think it's ridiculous. You know, we all have mentors, and the lineage of Buddhism I'm in, you celebrate that. That's not a thing you try to imagine didn't happen. You're like, you know, our teachers are so important. And Rogan, you know, he was taking me on the road before I should have been on stage. He thought I was doing a satanic puppet act, and he thought it was funny.
Is that what it was? I was going to ask you, what was like the thing that got him? A satanic puppet act?
Man, I was closing with a satanic, horrible, monstrous puppet named Little Hobo. This like terrible. It was the embodiment of all the worst things I could imagine in the world. And you know, this is still Fear Factor day. So like Rogan's getting people who don't know about stand-up who are just like, I want to go see the Fear Factor guy tell jokes. And suddenly, right before that guy comes out, there's this weirdo on stage, his eyes rolling backwards with like a puppet that's like yelling like, hail Satan, hail Satan. And he thought it was funny. They didn't, but he like, that's what he thought was funny.
That's the beauty of Joe, right? Is like he just does what he does. He talks to who he wants to talk to. His topics are what he wants to talk about. And like, if the audience doesn't like it, fuck off. And it turns out that like 100 bajillion people do like it. So, you know, he figured it out that way. That's incredible though. I mean, I feel like so many people want that cosign or just even want to talk to him and be invited on or whatever. So to end up being one of his guys is, and as far as podcasting is concerned, that's the ultimate, right? That's like the top of the mountain.
It's bizarre because it wasn't. I mean, I was the talent coordinator of the Comedy Store, and he was just calling, and we get in these conversations on the phone that are identical to what we talk about now on the podcast. Like he would call, he was probably stoned, I was probably stoned, and then we just start talking about like Terrence McKenna and float tanks on the phone. We weren't recording it. I don't think we even knew what a podcast was at the time. And then, you know, then now all of a sudden he's like interviewing Bernie Sanders. That was one of the weirdest moments for me. I'm like on YouTube, it's Rogan and Bernie Sanders. Yeah. Talk about surreal, man. Like this is like he's a friend. And I'm not saying surreal, like that guy shouldn't be talking to Bernie Sanders, but just realizing like, holy shit, a friend of mine has gotten to a point in his career where he's sitting down with presidential candidates, where he's smoking weed with our generation's like the founder of Tesla.
Yeah.
And that is a wild testament to what can happen to anybody these days, you know, and I don't mean anybody like he's an anybody. I mean, all you've got is who you are. And if you start questioning that, then you're fucked. And I think someone like Rogan, that's what he puts out there is like, the more you tune in with yourself, the more you can expect some form of success, I would say.
If you had to pinpoint one thing, and maybe you just did it right there, but when you try to like think of why Rogan is as successful as he is, what would you think is like the one trait of his as a podcaster that separates him? Because it's like, I've always said it's like if I wanted to pick up a basketball and play like LeBron James, like cannot do it, physically impossible. We all can grab a microphone and talk. We all can have a conversation, but yet he does it on like a LeBron James level where it's like, what is the X factor? What is the difference in a good podcaster, a bad podcaster, an immortal podcaster? Because it is just talking, right? So what is it?
Well, listening. Y'all are listening to me. I could feel it. Like you're good at listening. You've opened up some conduit here and I can feel it. And because you've opened it up, it's making me open up to you. Mm-hmm. And in that openness, it produces these kinds of moments that I consider to be great moments when I'm doing a podcast. And you ask great questions. So I don't think there is a simple answer to your question, but from observing Joe, one thing that that seems anomalous in him compared to other people I know is he's got like Terminator level discipline. Like you know what I mean? Like when he decides to learn how to do something, he commits fully to it in a way that I think some people would be like put off by it in the sense that like there isn't that I've seen him like pick stuff up like archery. Yeah. It starts with like an interest in it. And then all of a sudden he's out in the middle of like the Ozarks or some shit, taking down bears or whatever, elk, right. But that's the difference between him and me and most people I know. Like I've got a bow like sadly hanging outside near a tree.
We got a ukulele, right, John? You got a ukulele. We all got some shit here.
Wait, hold on.
You got There it is. There you go.
Hey, this is a mandolin close to you. I can't play it. This is what happens when you get stoned and go to Guitar Center. But if it kind of sounds like Led Zeppelin, but like if Rogan had like, but in some like other universe decided he wanted to learn the mandolin, he would now be a gypsy or something.
He would have made one. He would have, like fictioned himself and then started playing his own version of it. He'd make his own.
Yeah, and he naturally would be connected to like these, like I don't know, Norse mandolin crafters. He'd have some mandolin that was like made out of like the skulls of like saints or something like that. So the hair of Valkyries. That's the difference between him and me. And I'll tell you, like. One thing I learned early on is like if you really don't want to, I just don't compare yourself to Rogan. Yeah, because that's a good way to hurt yourself. It's like a lot of people look at him and they're like, don't do like it's. I don't know, maybe he's an alien or something. Who knows? But he's got discipline. That would be the short answer that I made really long. Is the guy's super disciplined, and to me, there's relief in that, in the sense that means that if you really want something, all you got to do is like become a machine.
Yeah, there's relief, but there's not. I mean. That also is like it removes all excuses. It's like you can do it. Just be like fucking Joe. Read the books, study this, go out into the mountains and learn how to do it. So it's not like you can't just be like, well, Joe can do it, I can't do it. It's like, well, if you fucking tried harder, maybe you could.
Well, yeah, and maybe, and also, but if you can't, that's cool too. Like I've noticed like failure. When you're fully pursuing something, failure has a sacred quality to it. When you're like really going for something and you've done literally everything you can and you've done everything you can and you still fail in that regard. I don't even know if that's failure anymore. That's just part of the process. Yeah. Yeah. And so
think there's probably comics, right? Like
what's that?
I think comics have that as well. Comics will bomb, and that's part of the process. And the average human, if they got up on stage and bombed in front of a bajillion people, they'd hide in their basement forever, So I think failure for people who are comics is also part of, the fabric of who they are.
Once you do something that, like you're saying, like if you do it 100%, and there aren't a ton of things in my life I've done 100%, but the ones I have and they didn't all work, I'm just like, well, that was good. Even if people hated it, I'm like, I know it was good. That was everything of me. That was good. I don't care if it got 2 retweets. I don't care if people said that story sucks. I don't care. That was good. That was the best I could do. And you can handle that. It's easier to be like, it's not even a failure. It's like, you don't think of yourself as a failure. You're like, I was good. I nailed that. I know I did.
This is one of the things I love about Norse mythology. Did y'all play God of War? Do you ever play the game God of War?
I didn't play it, but I know what you're talking about.
It's so good, man. But there's this like idea that if you hear it and you take it literally, it sounds fucking horrible and like warmongery. But it's like if you die on the field of battle, then you get to feast with the gods. Basically, this is like, and this also appears in the Bhagavad Gita. A lot of traditions, this concept of jihad or like sacred war, and that if you die in that pursuit, then that's you always win, even if you lose. So to me, I think that what you're talking about is like you're fully yourself. What else can you be? And if in being fully yourself, the universe responds in a way that wasn't the way you maybe wanted it to, it's a collision between the universe and itself. And in there, how can you beat yourself up for that? There's some form of perfection in that. And so to me, I think that's whenever I just get into that, like this is who I am as much as I could be. And there are definitely going to be people who are like, fuck that hippie, fuck that stoner, pseudo-philosophical son of a bitch. Holy shit, I had to deal with people like him in college, that motherfucker. I get it. You did have to deal with people who like me in college. I'm sorry, it's me. What can I do? This is what I'm like. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't want the way I am to like burn you or make you feel annoyed or make you have to be like, let's watch Tiger King. This motherfucking I get it, but that being said, it's like, I was being myself. And so what else can you do? It's all we got.
Yeah. At that point you blame them. I don't know. It's your fault if you didn't find that funny. I'm awesome. I killed it. I did all I could. You're the weird one.
Or even more so, you're like, no, you don't blame them. You're like, yeah, you don't like me. That's who you are. You don't like me. And I probably wouldn't like you. And we're two people who don't like each other together. And somewhere in there, you'll realize like, fuck, I think we like each other. Like,
then you fuck each other. Yeah, let's go.
And then you fuck. And that's how babies are made.